Yep, it's another book haul. Hello everybody, I'm Roxy and this is Pregnant BS. And yes, I do know I have a problem. You don't need to tell me. It's just that in the last couple of weeks there have been a lot of amazing book sales and I cannot resist a great secondhand book sale. This in particular is the closest to a library book sale that I have here in Chile, because as far as I know, libraries do not regularly do book sales, and when they do, they don't usually get rid of books in such great condition. I know because my former uni library used to do them and they were alright, but they were nothing like I've seen in people from other countries from Instagram and their videos. Anyways, this is not a library book sale. It's at a church. It's an English speaking community church here in Santiago, which is infinitely interesting. I think they do this as a way of raising funds, and they also do bake sales and their baked goods are amazing. I must admit I only attend to these things. I don't go to other types of events, but they are very welcoming and they let you go even if you don't really belong to the church. So they just care that you buy a lot of books, and it's so cheap that, no joke, all of the books that I'm going to show on this book haul and the next one are around, like, they together cost around the same than I have paid for like expensive non-fiction translated books into Spanish. It's crazy cheap. And also because, as I've mentioned, books in Chile are kind of expensive. So, you know, I just have to make the best out of it. So I decided to split the video into fiction and non-fiction just to not have it be as long. I enjoy more concise videos, so I will do my best to not ramble on. Let's see how that goes. So the first discovery was like right on top as soon as I entered, and I was shook people. It's this great condition hardback bind up of Evelyn Waugh's novels. It has 6 of them, and I was about to get Scoop and Brideshead Revisited. Scoop is about journalism in early 20th century as a rising profession, and then Brideshead Revisited, it's sort of a, I think, musing on the fall of aristocracy in the turn of the century. So I'm very interested in reading those two. The others I've only heard of, Decline and Fall, Black Mischief, A Handful of Dust, and Put on More Flags. I'm sad that this doesn't have Wild Bodies though. I really want to read that as well, but I'm very pleased that I didn't purchase Scoop or Brideshead Revisited beforehand because this was so cheap. It was a little more than $1 and I'm just terribly excited. This is definitely something I will read, at least Scoop or Brideshead Revisited, next year early on. Then I have Somerset Maugham Rain and Other South Sea Stories collection, and I have another book by Somerset Maugham that I actually ordered and got recently. It's called Then and Now. This is not part of that book haul, but I'll still mention it. This is a historical novel about Niccolo Machiavelli, and it's, as far as I understand, not the typical Maugham affair. Like, he didn't usually write historical fiction. I might be wrong, but as far as I understand, that's the case. This is a lot of political intrigue, which is Maugham's cup of tea, but reinterpreted. So I think that called out to me because I love historical political intrigue, especially when it has parallels with our times. But I wanted also something that was more traditionally Maugham, so I got this one. It says that the selection is very good, but then again, I guess if they selected the stories, they would toot their own horns. But anyways, I also got Heat Wave by Penelope Lively. I only own one book by Penelope Lively, which is Life in the Garden. It's a non-fiction book musing on her relationship with gardening and nature and all of that, which I bought because it sounded amazing. But I've never read her fiction, and I did want to start with Moon Tiger because it is her Man Booker winner and like more famous work. But I found this and it sounded interesting. I don't actually remember what it's about, but at the time I said, oh, you know what? I'll check it out. So there we go. If I like this, of course, I'll check out Moon Tiger. Even if I don't, I probably also will check it out. Anyways, I also have Empire Falls by Richard Russo. This was winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and it's about a guy who works in a diner that apparently is in decline. I'm very interested in this because I've been on a food nonfiction kick, which hasn't necessarily translated in a food fiction kick, unlike other genre of fiction that I will mention later on. But I still was interested in this book. I really like the tying cover, which I don't usually do, but this sounds interesting. I am concerned about how I will connect with this very male-centered view, because there are lots of books that sound really great and with really great plots, but then they're really low-key and not so low-key, misogynistic, and you know what, I don't know. I am choosing to have faith in this, and I hope it'll be great, and at least it'll be an entertaining read, I hope. Then I have an amazing discovery, The Awakening by Chopin. I have been wanting to read this for a long time. This edition is like so compact and beautiful, and it also includes some of her other short stories. Sadly, it does not include Story of an Hour, which is one of my favorite stories by her, but I have not read The Awakening, which is, as I know, one of the great feminist works of her time, and it's a reflection on marriage and how women can feel so trapped by this institution. So I'm very interested in this. I've heard mixed reviews, but people I respect the most have raved about it. So I'm very interested. And as I said, I loved The Story of an Hour. I think she can write tension so well, and I'm just very pleased with this discovery. Then I also have Matterhorn, a novel of the Vietnam War by Karl Marlantes. And here's the thing, this is so off-brand for me. It's not something I would have usually picked up, except that Julia Pistel from Literary Disco, one of my favorite podcasts ever, said this was amazing. So I decided to check it out. What I liked just by browsing it was that apparently it doesn't take place entirely on the battlefield, because I don't like war battlefield stories, because either they are like really, really depressing and nihilistic, and I understand that's war, but like it really affects me, or they are heroic in nature, and that I just despise because I do not like war. So I am very interested in like the political side of it, although that also doesn't rage me. But anyways, this seems more multidimensional and also taking like the larger context of the soldiers of what I've seen. And it's also signed, which I was very impressed by. Sorry, there we go. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And I got this for less than $1. So let's see if the recommendation was worth it. Then I have All My Puny Sorrows by Miriam Toews. Anyways, I have heard of this book. I don't remember if I have heard good or bad things, but I have been craving a lot of music nonfiction and a lot of dance nonfiction, and that has translated into like craving fiction stories about music. So this rang a bell. It was really cheap, and it's about two sisters. I don't know if both are musicians or only one of them is a pianist, but it explored that tension, and I'm always interested in sibling rivalry and relationships, and so I picked it up. I hope it does not disappoint. Then a really contemporary find that I couldn't believe was there. It's Half-Blood Blues by Essie Edudian. I have not read anything by her just yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about her books in general. So I'm very interested in seeing this one because it's about a jazz singer, and then again, like me craving music related fiction and nonfiction, leave your recommendations down below. It was like right up my alley, and I think I will get to this soon-ish. Then I have the Paris Review book of the art of the short story called Object Lessons. I couldn't believe this was there. I am so excited because the selection is great and each short story is introduced by a very contemporary and famous author. So I'm very happy about that. And this was also reviewed in Literary Disco. I listened to that episode not that long ago, but I don't remember exactly what stories they commented on. But I'm very excited. And of course, after I read this, I'm going to go back to the episode. Very excited. Then I have The Women by Tc Boyle, and I'm so happy because I was about to buy this brand new. I don't remember when. I just saw it and I thought it was interesting, and I didn't because at the time the book I wanted to read most by Tc Boyle, whom I've never read before, is The Inner Circle, because it's a historical fiction version of the life of the inventor of the Kinsey scale, Alan Kinsey, I think. Alfred Kinsey. So I wanted to read that first. And I planned to do that, but this was really cheap. And this is also very interesting to me. It's the story of the Wright brothers, so the ones who invented the airplane, but told through the women in their lives. And I really love this approach of reimagining or re-exploring historical figures or historical moments through their women. Of course, there's also a lot to be gained by exploring the women themselves, which I think it's also kind of the point here. But I also like to know how they fit into these larger narratives that have been to an extent mythologized. So very interested in that. And finally, I have a very niche, it's not niche, it was just like an interesting thing that I found. And this is 5 Weeks in a Balloon, A Journey of Discovery by 3 Englishmen in Africa, which I thought was non-fiction. And then I realized it was like Jules Verne's first novel. And I used to love Jules Verne when I was a kid. I had read like 3 or 4 of his books and thought they were amazing. They captured my imagination. And then I suddenly stopped reading him, and I want to rectify that. I want to reread his hits, but also explore new titles. And as I said, this is his first novel. It's apparently a great edition because it's it has introductions, it has notes, it says first modern and complete English translation. So this edition is a big deal of that novel, which is interesting. I'm very excited. And so that is all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and comment, have you read any of these books? Or do you plan on reading any of them? So see you for the non-fiction haul, and then most likely for the best fiction and non-fiction of the year, which I will film in January though, because what if I finish an amazing book on the 31st? I just cannot risk it. So be patient with that. And also a great shout out to my friend Danny, who offered to edit videos. So if I get to make more videos for you guys, it's thanks to her. So thank you. And this is also for you. Okay, so see you next time.